Bandidos. What up, your boy Tux here, and today we're tackling the Division 2 Battle for Brooklyn DLC, dropping May 27, 2025. This is the first major expansion in over 5 years, since Warlords of New York blew us away in 2020. Ubisoft's bringing us back to Brooklyn, where the whole Division saga kicked off, and the hype is real, but here's the catch. If you're picking up the DLC, it's only $15. But if you're new to the franchise, it basically comes down to the ultimate bundle, and you're looking at a whopping $70. That's not pocket change, it's a serious investment. So is it worth it? We're gonna break it all down. The game, the DLC, the bundle, the history, the community, the future. Everything you need to know before you drop that cash. Stick around, we're going in deep, y'all. Let's do this.
Wait, did we just become best friends? So nice to meet you. I think you're cool.
Piece of shit wristwatch.
If you're new to the Division 2 or just need a refresher, here's the rundown. It's a live service looter shooter with an online twist. Set in a post-apocalyptic US after a virus, the dollar flu wiped out millions. The Division saga kicked off with the first game back in 2016, set in a snowy, virus-ravaged New York City. It was a massive hit, blending intense shootouts with a gripping story about survival. Then came the Division 2 in March 2019, cranking up the stakes. You step into the boots of a Division agent, a sleeper operative, activated when shit hits the fan. The game drops you into a trashed Washington, D.C., fighting factions like the Hyenas, the True Sons, and Outcasts. Your mission? Take back the city, protect the survivors, and rebuild what's left. Every mission, every firefight brings you closer to saving D.C., one block at a time. The world's gorgeous. Landmarks like the Capitol Building or Lincoln Memorial, but overgrown and trashed. It's all powered by Ubisoft's Snowdrop engine, which delivers dynamic weather, day-night cycles, and insane detail. Rain-soaked streets, fog rolling in, or sunlight glinting off shattered glass. It's immersive. And the destruction system, boys who love to break things will love this. Shoot a car tires, the suspension wobbles. Blast the windshield, glass shards crash down, all thanks to physics magic. It's the kind of stuff that made millions fall in love with the game's vibe and modernized the Tom Clancy franchise. You can play solo or squad up with friends, and it's got that tactical edge, cover-based shooting, smart AI, and a grind for loot that keeps you hooked. Since 2019, it's had its highs and its lows, but it's still kicking. The last big story expansion, Warlords of New York, dropped in 2020, sending agents back to New York City to take down a rogue agent in a revenge-fueled showdown. Now, after more than 5 years, we're getting Battle for Brooklyn, so let's see what it brings to the table. The DLC isn't just another update, it's a big deal. It takes us back to Brooklyn, the starting point of the original Division game in 2016. If you played that, you remember those early missions, tight streets, cleaners torching everything, Rikers running wild. Now, Battle for Brooklyn revisits that vibe but cranks it up. We're hitting Brooklyn Heights and Dumbo, all decked out in an autumn glow. Orange leaves, moody skies, chilly vibes. It's got atmosphere for days. For the game's loyal fan base, this feels like a victory lap, a return to where it all began. The Division 2 offers a narrative that pulls players into a meticulously crafted post-apocalyptic world, blending real-world inspirations with gripping fiction. Set in a near-future Washington, D.C., the game unfolds 7 months after a devastating bioterrorist attack unleashed the dollar flu, or green poison, on New York City. The engineered virus, a highly contagious and deadly strain reminiscent of weaponized smallpox, triggered a societal collapse that left the United States in ruins. Amid the chaos, the Strategic Homeland Division, elite sleeper agents trained for such crisis, were activated to restore order and protect what remains for civilization. The brilliance of the Division 2's lore lies in its grounding in real-world concepts, notably the Dark Winter Simulation, a 2001 US government exercise that exposed the nation's vulnerabilities to a bioterrorist attack. This authenticity permeates the game's narrative, where the virus's rapid spread mirrors the simulation's worst-case scenarios, shattering infrastructure and plunging society into disarray. Washington, D.C., and its iconic landmarks like the White House and Capitol Building becomes a haunting stage for survival, each location steeped in stories of resilience and despair. The world feels alive, the environment details painting a vivid picture of a nation undone by its own fragility. The factions vying for control of DC are a highlight of the lore, each with distinct identities, motivations, and histories that elevate the game's world building. The Hyenas are a chaotic alliance of opportunistic gangs. You got the True Sons, former Joint Task Force members turned authoritarian, and then the outcasts, bitter survivors of quarantine zones driven by vengeance, and the infamous Black Tusk, a shadowy private military company wielding advanced technology. These groups clash with each other and the Division, creating a dynamic web of conflict that feels organic and unpredictable. The Warlords of New York expansion takes the lore to new heights, returning players to the virus ground zero in New York City. They nailed it with a personal revenge arc against Aaron Keener, whose actions challenged the Division's purpose and ideals, adding a layer of philosophical depth to the narrative. Then things take a turn. The lore in recent seasonal content has taken a noticeable dip. What was once a grounded, thought-provoking narrative has occasionally veered into a territory some describe as cheesy and thin. For instance, while the early story arcs in the Division 2 felt like a big, epic journey, the seasonal content takes a different turn, leaning hard into gameplay loops instead of focusing on the story. This leaves the narratives feeling shorter and kind of scattered, missing the depth that makes those earlier arcs so gripping. Instead of one solid, flowing tale, you get these snippets that don't really connect into something bigger. And the themes, betrayal, rogue agents, faction clashes, pop up so often, it's like the game's stuck on repeat. It dulls their punch and makes the world feel more static than alive. Despite these recent cheeseball drops, the lore of The Division 2 remains a cornerstone of its appeal. The game's ability to merge real-world anxieties with the fictional saga is a testament to its storytelling strength, even if the latest chapters haven't matched the heights of what came before. One of the slickest features in The Division 2, the Hunters. These dudes are the game's big enigma, and trust me, they're not your average run and gun enemies. You don't just bump into them while looting a stash or taking down a control point. Oh no, you've got to work for it, cracking these brain-teasing riddles hidden all over Washington, D.C. and New York. It's like the game's throwing down a gauntlet. Think you're tough? Prove it. The Hunters, maybe they're ex-Division, maybe something darker. They're quiet, lethal, and nobody's quite sure what they're after. Revenge? Some hidden agenda? The mystery's half the fun. Every encounter feels like you're digging deeper into the game's shadowy underbelly, and that vibe just hooks you. So, the new content is coming to Brooklyn. You'll explore detailed recreations of Brooklyn Heights and Dumbo, plus some fresh zones that make it feel alive and worth exploring. It's nostalgic, but new at the same time. The cleaners are back, those flamethrower-wielding psychos from the first game, and they've got a shiny new toy, the purple flamethrower. This thing doesn't just set you on fire, it corrodes your armor, slowly chipping away at your max protection. It's a brutal twist that'll keep you on your toes. On the gameplay front, there's some cool new stuff. The smart cover skill is making a comeback from the Division 1. You can slap it on cover points to boost your squad with two flavors: precision smart cover for extra damage or fortified smart cover for more defense. There's also the Catalyst exotic mask, a DLC exclusive gear piece. It's built to counter the cleaner's status effects, fire and corrosion. Story-wise, Battle for Brooklyn brings back some familiar faces. Got Theo, Jessica Kandal, and Agent Hoskins, to name a few. The cleaners are trying to purify Brooklyn with their purple flame, while the Riker faction is making things worse for the locals. You're stepping in to stop the chaos and dig into what's driving this new threat. It's a standalone tale, so you don't need to know every seasonal update to enjoy it. But if you're a lore nerd, there's plenty of juicy callbacks to sink your teeth into. The Division 2's Battle for Brooklyn DLC doesn't break new ground. Instead, it leans heavily on the game's established formula, delivering a familiar experience rather than a bold reinvention. For a 7-year-old game with a loyal fanbase, this isn't a misstep. It's a calculated play to give players more of what they've stuck around for. The developers have tried ambitious experiments in the past. I'm not going to go into the details. Let's just say these swings at innovation didn't fully land with the players. It's left a lingering impression that the devs might not fully grasp what the community craves, making it all the more critical to rebuild trust by doubling down on the core elements fans love while fostering better dialogue for future content. The Brooklyn DLC offers a compact 6 to 10 hours of gameplay. It includes a new story campaign, 9 missions, 7 of which are replayable, 4 control points, 12 open world activities, 10 bounty locations, 8 hunter riddles, and a level 40 boost for instant access. Compared to Warlords of New York, it's on the smaller side, and there's no radical departure here, no new mechanics or genre-shifting modes. just a polished expansion of the game's tried and true loop. This familiarity is the DLC's strength and its limitation. It's a safe bet, offering a comforting return to form after past experiments fell flat. For a fan base that's weathered 7 years, with a few of those years that only gave recycled content, predictability can feel like a reward. Yet, it also underscores the challenge ahead. Delivering what works today won't sustain the game forever. The core of The Division 2 is solid gold. The gunplay is tight, assault rifles snap with precision, shotguns deliver a hefty thump, and snipers crack heads with deadly accuracy. The sound design is loud, crisp, and meaty, making every shot feel like it lands with a punch. The cover system is smooth and intuitive. Snap to a wall, pop out, fire, and duck back seamlessly, tying the combat into a tactical flow. The Division 2 offers a wide variety of PvE game modes to cater to different playstyles. The main story campaign, replayable missions, and open world activities. There are 2 raids and 1 incursion, supporting up to 8 players that require strong coordination. The Summit offers procedurally generated 100 floors of increasing difficulty. Descent is a roguelite game mode, countdown for a casual 8-man PvE extraction experience, while seasonal content, such as manhunts and modifiers, introduce time-limited buffs and story-driven objectives. Together, these modes provide a rich mix of solo, cooperative, and challenging experiences. PvE difficulty levels offer a range including normal, hard, and challenging. Things get serious in heroic, master, and the ruthless legendary difficulty. Beyond missions, you can tweak the global difficulty from normal to heroic, scaling the entire game world. Missions, patrols, everything, for added challenge and better rewards. Co-op takes it up a notch, but as the group scales, the AI gets spongy, soaking up more bullets and stretching fights longer than they should. For a mix of PvE and PvP, the Dark Zone delivers tension. It's a PvPvE hotspot where you can face AI enemies and rival players, with an extraction mode that has you calling in a chopper to secure loot while fending off ambushes. There's also a dedicated PvE conflict mode for straight up player battles, but PvP overall is a letdown here. It consistently feels unbalanced and broken. The AI in The Division 2 aren't your average video game grunts. They're smart, adaptive, and relentless. Yes, there's a catch. Enemies can feel like bullet sponges, soaking up rounds before they drop. But look past that, and you've got some of the sharpest AI in the genre. Here's why it's so damn good. At its heart, the AI feels alive. Enemies don't just eat bullets, they move, flank, and hug cover like pros. Rushers charge in, demanding split-second calls. Snipers pick you off if you're sloppy. They don't ignore the environment either. They weaponize it. They'll duck behind cars, climb to high ground, or slip through gaps to ambush you. Every clash feels like a real scrap against enemies with a plan. The AI in The Division 2 is brilliant, smart, fierce, and endlessly engaging. The bullet sponge flaw drags a bit, but the AI's genius makes every win a rush worth chasing. You jump into The Division 2 for the adrenaline-pumping firefights, but what keeps you coming back long after the story fades isn't just the action. It's the builds. That's the game's secret sauce. Your build is your agent's toolkit, gear, weapons, and skills you tweak to match how you want to play. Maybe you're drawn to the rush of mowing down foes as a run-and-gun DPS, or you love keeping your squad alive as a healer. The action pulls you in, but crafting that perfect setup, your personal spin on survival, starts to take over. What makes it stick is how the game handles progression. Instead of just chasing bigger numbers all the time, like most shooters, The Division 2 leans into horizontal progression, beyond just stacking power to unlocking fresh ways to play. With a mountain of gear options, brands, sets, exotics, you can mix and match to create something totally your own. The recalibration and optimization system lets you fine-tune every piece, tinkering to fit your vision. The flexibility keeps it fresh. You're not stuck. You're always dreaming up new combos to test in the next firefight. So yeah, you come for the action, but stay for the builds. That's why The Division 2 doesn't let go. It's a shooter where the real game is making it yours. The grind in The Division 2 is relentless. Early on, you're scouring the streets for gear pieces, but the real challenge kicks in when the focus shifts to stockpiling resources. Workbenches, your key to upgrading gear, demand a hefty price in materials, turning every mission into a resource hunting slog. Reaching peak performance, that's a marathon of replaying content, fine-tuning builds, and pouring sweat into a grind that's as brutal as it is rewarding. Now you might be wondering, This game is huge. How am I supposed to catch up to those endgame pros? Totally a fair question. The developers have been tinkering to make it a lot more welcoming for newcomers like you. They've tossed in some milestone caches throughout the main campaign. Then there are these XP farm global events that let you level up fast and get your stats ready for the end game without dragging it out forever. The new countdown game mode is your go-to for gear, and the new priority objective system is your go-to for key resources and even exotics. Seasonal modifiers shake things up too, tweaking the power levels in a way that, even as a fresh face, you can stand toe-to-toe with the veterans. And if you're just starting out, the new level 40 boost skips the early slog and plops you right into the endgame action. The Division franchise has killer gameplay, stunning visuals, and that looter-shooter grind, but the ride's been anything but smooth. The Division 2 peaked with 2020's Warlords of New York, but momentum stalled. Content droughts, PC performance woes, and Dark Zone hackers left fans hanging. Ubisoft's financial spiral hasn't helped. A 2024-25 earnings report flaunts a $110 million cost-cutting plan, with layoffs and canceled projects piling pressure on the Division 2. For years, the player base has dealt with a lack of fresh content, delays, poor communications, and bugs that last so long they turn into in-game features. But I admit, the devs have been earnestly trying to turn that around. But year 7's a blank slate, no roadmap, just whispers of the Division 3, leaving players antsy. Yet the community endures, a tight-knit crew of 2,000 to 3,000 daily Steam players, with most of the player base across platforms, fueled by a franchise that's banked over $1 billion. The Battle for Brooklyn DLC could jolt this thing back. 10,000 plus Steam players isn't wild if it delivers. With the Division 3 confirmed, think 2027-28, the Game Pass on deck, there's hope. It's a rocky road, but a few wins could flip the script. Let's talk money. Battle for Brooklyn itself costs $14.99 as a standalone purchase. If you're new or want more bang for your buck, it's also bundled in the Gold and Ultimate editions, which throws in the base game, Warlords of New York, and perks like a level 40 boost. So, what do I think? Well, for returning players, it's a solid deal for the hours and quality you're getting, especially if you're already hooked on the Division 2. It's a no-brainer. For newcomers, there's no denying that $69 for the Ultimate Bundle is a hefty price for a 7-year-old game, and you're going to need all of that. But this is an awesome game, and even at 7 years old, I love it and can truly say you will get every bit of your money's worth. Just be aware of the dev's track record and that the rest of the Ubisoft story is yet to be written. It's volatile at the least, but the future of this franchise comes in the form of the Division 3. Drop a comment, let me know if you're grabbing the DLC or if you've got questions. See you in Brooklyn, Bandidos.
Wait, did we just become best friends? So nice to meet you. I think you're cool.
Piece of shit wristwatch.